evening, everybody, and welcome to this latest edition of the 8 o'clock spot live on the Gryd Network's YouTube channel. I am your host, /judge/moderator, Bryson Carver. It is episode 48, and we are giving thanks on this Tuesday night. It is Thanksgiving Day week, one of my favorite weeks in the entire calendar year. We got family, we got some great food, we got a lot of football we're be talking about for the entirety of the show, and we also got three fantastic guests and panelists looking to get their name atop the 8 o'clock spot leaderboards, or in the case of one of our contestants, continue to push his name at the top spot. Let's start with our first guest. It is Paris Brown, of course, a contributor at the Gryd Network. Paris, rough Sunday for your Arizona Cardinals, but other than that, how are you doing?
I mean, the Cardinals continue to do what I say they do. The moment I get hope after they go on a 3-game winning streak, they disappoint. I keep saying they are unpredictable. I give hope, and that's what happens. But I also had Saquon in fantasy this week, so I can't be too upset.
That you probably won by like 75 points, something like that. Yeah. We're actually going to lead the show talking about Saquon Barkley and the MVP discussion, so that's a pretty good segue. Let's go into Arthur Hurst, who has won the show a couple of times. Arthur, good day at the office yesterday for the Baltimore Ravens. They pulled to within a half game of my Steelers, so definitely going to be a fun little back and forth to the end of the season. But how you feel about Baltimore, and how you feeling tonight?
Just continue running the football, man. Just beat the horse until it's dead, dog. I mean, Derrick Henry's been playing like a workhorse since high school, so giving him a ton of carries and letting him just work is nothing new, So just get Derrick Henry the football and good things happen.
So what you've been saying feels like the entire time on the show. Just give big fella the football, and good things are going to happen for the offense. There's no question about that. And finally, a man looking for his very first win, the 8 o'clock spot. It is Tyler Redington, Gryd Network contributor. Tyler, pretty good day for your Dallas Cowboys. I assume. Are you a Cowboys fan, I assume, Tyler? Because obviously they win what was a pretty insane game against the Washington Commanders on Sunday. But Tyler, how you doing tonight, my man?
Yeah, good. I'm loyal to a fault. So, yeah, it's interesting to see after – Cowboys win, how many Cowboys fans still think that we're relevant or still think that we have a chance or that we're doing something good. Hey, pump the brakes. We're still the Dallas Cowboys. We're still awful under Jerry Jones. So, hey.
And the man you just mentioned actually suggested that Mike McCarthy could be back next season potentially. Now, again, Jerry says a lot of things, so maybe we could just chalk this up to Jerry being Jerry, but the idea that it was even suggested, given how the Cowboys season has gone, is it can't be good news for Cowboys fans. But I'm sure we'll see that continue to progress. Let's look at our 8 o'clock spot leaderboard before we get into our first segment. Alfred Parsard Jr. put his name out. There's Alfred Parsard Jr.'s name, and the poor guy forgot to put his point total on the list. But Alfred did win the show. Sorry, Alfred, out here creating graphics and can't even get your point total on. But Alfred's got 18 points. But at the top, there's Arthur Hurst, followed by Mike Guido, Barry Grant Jr., Paris Brown, Tim Barnard, Alfred Parsard Jr., Asher Moore, Eric Van Linton. There's Tyler Redington, EJ Savage, and finally Eric Ruiz. Let's go into our 8 o'clock spot rules, folks. It's pretty simple. The best take gets 5 points. The second best take gets 3 points. And the third best take gets a single points. Let's talk about what was as incredible performance as we've seen all NFL season from Saquon Barkley. So he goes out there against the Los Angeles Rams, rushes for over 250 yards, accounts for over 300 yards from scrimmage. Does Saquon Barkley? He's an elite class of guys in history to have 1,600 rushing yards, 12 touchdowns, and 6 or more yards per carry over the course of his team's first 12 games or 11 games. The only guy who's been able to say that, the other guys, are Jim Brown and Walter Payton. So he's an elite company. I'll ask you to start the show, Paris. Is Saquon Barkley thus far the MVP of the National Football League?
He 1,000% should be, but how the NFL runs things, he will not be MVP. It happens every year. We saw it with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry went for over 2,000 yards, and he wasn't able to be MVP. So the sad thing comes is Saquon wants to win MVP. He has to hope either Josh Allen and Lamar start losing, which that's almost impossible. And he has to have another 200-yard game again in the season, which for Saquon's not impossible, but it's hard to do. The thing he did last night, 255 yards, it showed we haven't seen somebody run that much since 2009 from Jamal Charles. And 70-plus rushing touchdowns. We haven't seen that since 2012 from Maurice Jones-Drew. And that still only puts him in third place in the MVP voting right now. The NFL is made. QBs win the MVP race. As long as Lamar Jackson wins, as long as Josh Allen wins, he's not going to win it unless he can do another 250-yard run again. And, I mean, is it possible? Yes. Honestly, at this point, anything's possible. But the odds are it's not going to happen. He's going to miss out no matter what he does. If you're a running back, it just doesn't go to you. I mean, to me, I could see either Saquon being MVP. I think Joe Burrow should be MVP. This man is third in passing yards. He's first in passing touchdowns, second in passer rating. And he didn't even play this week. He was on a bye this week, and he's only down by 30 yards passing. And he's down in 8th place. So it goes to show you have to win games. The Bengals are struggling. And you just have to be a QB. Saquon, no matter what he does, unless they just start giving him the ball and he starts throwing touchdowns, he's not going to win the MVP race this year.
Yeah, I mean, it sure seems that way. And again, like you said, it's such a, not even just the NFL, but football as a sport is so quarterback-centric that they just have an inherent advantage. It's going to take Saquon doing so. If he's able to break Eric Dickerson's rushing record, single-season rushing record, maybe have a conversation. Adrian Peterson almost did that back in 2012. He's the last non-quarterback to win MVP. We'll see if Saquon breaks that mold. I'll go to you now, Arthur, on this question. Should Saquon Barkley be the MVP of the National Football League, or at least through 11 games, the MVP frontrunner?
Listen, dude, I'm gonna say the same thing that Paris said. The difference is, for me, a lot of the season I had Derrick Henry as the MVP favorite, even though I knew he wouldn't win because he's not a quarterback. Again, as what Paris said, and he was, in first and knowing everything, but the Ravens haven't been giving them the ball, so that allows Saquon Barkley to get first in carries and now first in rushing yards and things of that nature. But now I'm gonna have to go with Lamar Jackson. Josh Allen is playing amazing. Joe Burrow, as Paris said, he's playing amazing as well. But Lamar right now, 3,053 passing yards. That's first in the league. 27 touchdowns, tied for first in the league. He only has 3 interceptions on the season, tied for 53rd. Rushing for 599 yards, and he has 3 touchdowns. They're playing well, right? They're looking like a well-oiled machine when they run the football effectively and give it to that guy in the backfield, number 22, Derrick Henry. But he's, he's still Superman, right? And he's got another Superman right behind him again in Derrick Henry. But Lamar Jackson has been playing phenomenal. He's been able to really throw the ball well. Again, 27 touchdowns to 3 interceptions passing, rushing for 3 touchdowns as well. So, yeah, I'm going to have to give it to Lamar, man. He's been able to do it all, improve, and got this team in where they are right now. I think your mic muted, Brody. I think your mic muted. I can't hear you.
The mic is muted. The mic is good now. I apologize for that. This is why we need contestants, just to hold a host accountable. Listen, whenever I'm a guest on the show, my point total is gonna be like -25. I'm gonna be in the hole big time for all the mistakes I made. No, but again, to your point, what Lamar Jackson did so impressive is 3 touchdowns against the Chargers defense. That's been great all season long, all Monday Night Football after that tough loss to Pittsburgh. So kudos to him for that big time bounce back performance and a good take there from Arthur Hurst. I'll finish now with Tyler Redington. I'll ask him. Should Saquon Barkley, through 11 games this season, or through 12 weeks really, should he be the MVP of the National Football League?
Yes, I mean, we both acknowledged, everybody acknowledged it's an uphill battle when you're a running back. But if you just look at it, most valuable player, yes, that's what Saquon Barkley is. I mean, in the first game against the Packers, he had 3 TDs, and he's carried this 9-2 team. He's carried them to 9-2, and this has been an abysmal year as far as just, Nick Sirianni going and cussing out fans and hoopla here, hoopla there. Nothing positive surrounding this Eagles team, but yet Saquon Barkley, 5 TDs in his last 5 games. I mean, he's first in rushing. He's in attempts. He's first in yards. He's 4th in TDs. This guy is just unbelievable what he's doing for this team. Also, he's got 1,200 yards and 9 wins. They got 9 wins. He's got 1,200 rush yards. This guy means most to his team than any other guy. Let's go ahead and give him MVP.
He's been fantastic. I love the stat that to me says a lot. Is what are you doing in the wins? What are you doing in the winning efforts? Like, I know Paris obviously brought up Joe Burrow, and it's a fair point to make. And what I would say is, as great as he's been, you can't blame him for the losses. But again, in the wins, what is Saquon Barkley doing? See if we can join everybody back in the frame here. Yeah, I think it's it's a layered conversation now. Anybody trying to act like Lamar Jackson or a Joe Burrow or a Saquon Barkley has the MVP, with a stranglehold. I don't think that's the case. We still have 6 weeks to go in the NFL season. Thanksgiving coming up. So there's plenty of guys. By the way, maybe an unpopular take. The way he's playing lately, it's at least on the board that Patrick Mahomes could get in the conversation based on team record and based on his recent stats, lately. So that could be an interesting conversation to have as well. I can go put up the point totals right now. Arthur, I'm going to give you the best take, my man. I'm going to give you 5 points to start the segment. For Tyler, if I can put him up, I'm going to put him at 3 points, Paris at 1 point. So we got Arthur, then Tyler, then Paris. As we move into our second round, talking about the San Francisco 49ers, it has been to a certain degree the season from hell for this football team in every way, shape, and form. This is a team that's now 5-6. We're not even quite sure what's going on with Brock Purdy's shoulder right now. They just got blown out 38-10 to by the Green Bay Packers. So in their spot where they're not in an enviable position to say the very least. So I'll ask you, Arthur, they're only a game back of the division lead in what is a wild NFC West right now. I'll ask you, is the 49ers season over? Is it a wrap?
I think so, man. I mean, you can say what you want about Brock Purdy, right? Besides Christian McCaffrey and besides Debo, Kittle, all those guys, I mean, Purdy gets the job done, right? And it was hard to watch Allen out there with the 49ers offense, and it just did not look the same. Heck, this season for the 49ers just does not look the same. McCaffrey, since he's been back, hasn't been McCaffrey, right? You get it. It's only been 3 games he's been back, but he just hasn't been able to get going. And when you add in key guys like Trent Williams, out, Nick Bosa, out, George Kittle, he good, yesterday, but it's not that George Kittle presence that you just feel, right? And you feel bad for this team because they're so loaded, they're so talented, right? And we just know what they look like when they're healthy, and that's what sports comes down to, right? That's what winning the championship comes down to. What team is the healthiest, right? What team is the most coming together and we're good, coaching and all that stuff. Yes, that matters, but health, continuity, camaraderie, all those things play a part, right? And I just don't see how you're 3-5 in the conference, right now, 1 of the 3 in the division. The rest of the season isn't kind to them at all, with Allen still at the quarterback position. If he is, again, you said we don't know what's going on with Purdy and his shoulder right now. So yeah, man, sadly for this team that is so great and heavily talented with a bunch of high star names that a lot of teams will love to have, yeah, this 49ers season is a wrap.
You make some compelling points, and I will say, when you talk about Brandon Allen, I can fix some of the 49ers' problems as it relates to the backup quarterbacks. I'd say insert my man Joshua Dobbs out of the University of Tennessee, Space Dobbs. He's won games in this league, Arthur. I mean, he's played well. He's had his moments, more so than Brandon Allen. Give him an opportunity in this Kyle Shanahan offense. That's all I got to say. But no, I think as it relates to it's – oftentimes the best team doesn't win the Super Bowl. It's often, as you said, kind of the healthiest team. And this has been the season from hell in many instances. It really started with the McCaffrey and Trent Williams injuries back in training camp and during the summer. So it's kind of compounded to this point. So a good take there from Arthur. To you now, Tyler, the San Francisco 49ers season has kind of, in some ways, gone down the drain, but they're still more than alive to win the NFC West. Is their season over as we sit here today?
Yes, it is. I mean, statistically, they're right in the hunt, right? In that division, 5-6, they're literally a game out. But it's more about the body language and the momentum for this team. You had Debo Samuel not too long ago literally slap the place kicker, and then he also kind of grazed the kicker on the way back. And that just shows the bigger picture of what's going on with this 49ers team. They're just not locked in. And when you go on so many runs as you do, like, it takes some luck and it takes a lot of fortune, right? With the injuries, this team just does not have it this year. Injury plagued. The body language shows that they're defeated. I do not see them. If they do make a playoffs, I see them losing in the first wild card round. This team is just defeated, written all over its face. And it's sad under Shanahan. Love that coach. Love the culture there. It's just something's going on there this year. You can't win them all. You can't have deep runs every single year. This is just not their year. They're done.
Again, more compelling points on your part, Tyler. Yeah, I think you make an interesting point about the whole deal. I forgot about the Deebo Samuel incident during the Tampa Bay game with the long snapper and the kicker. Like, it was just kind of a mess in that spot. So, like, even they're physically injured, but in some way psychologically they're injured as well. So that's far more difficult to come back from. Whereas opposed, you could say, hey, next man up. It's the biggest cliche in sports, but at the same time, trying to repair the issues going in that locker room, that could create some problems as well. So good take there from Tyler. Finally to you, Paris. I'll finish with you in this segment. Is the San Francisco 49ers season, despite the fact that they're alive in your Cardinals division, the NFC West, is their season a wrap?
Well, as Tyler said, a lot of it comes with momentum. And when you look at the division, no team really has any momentum going for them at all. The only team you can really point at and has some momentum is Seattle. They are winning games right now. But do you really trust Geno Smith? I mean, every year he's been there. I'm not saying he's been bad. He's been doing his thing. But they're around 500 every single year. And that's what it's looking like it's going to come down to this year. They're going to be around 500. The 49ers, if they can just win one more game than them, they'll make the playoffs. All they have to do is win their division. The one game out of the division, no team in there is really impressive right now. Seattle is winning the division. They have the momentum going for them, but we've seen them be beat. We've seen them get blown out by a good team. The Cardinals, I've watched them every week. You don't know what to expect from them. 1 week, Kyler Murray's trying to join the MVP race. Next week, he's throwing balls up for interceptions. You never know. The Rams look bad. They have their offensive pieces, but their defense has been torn apart by teams. So there's no team in here that really has anything going for them. The 49ers, their problem is their injuries. But when you have this many injuries game back, they have a chance. Their biggest issue, other than their injuries, is their schedule. Their schedule is very tough. They got the Bills coming up. They got to face the Bears. The Bears are struggling, but they're in one of the toughest divisions. That's not a team you want to look over. They got to face the Dolphins. They have to face the Lions. They have to face the Cardinals again, which, again, you can't overlook. So they have a tough route, but I can definitely see this team making the playoffs. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, they're going to make a playoff run. Unless their players get healthy at the end of the season and they come back, maybe. But I can definitely see this team making the playoffs. There's no team in that division that's impressive right now. And yes, psychologically, you can say they're broken. But the moment they start winning games, that's going to fix everything. All those players want to do is win. And they're broken right now because this is the winning team that is losing. They're losing and have injuries. But all it takes is one impressive win. If they go out this week and beat the Bills, there's going to be no psychological issues anymore. They're going to be ready, and they'll make a playoff run after that.
They very well could, and like you said, it's just a matter of like just kind of getting that first W, trying to put yourself. Now, if you're able to beat Buffalo off a bye on Sunday Night Football in Orchard Park, like that could really, especially if Purdy's able to come back. And we understand for all the questions surrounding him, he's a little bit better than Brandon Allen. I think we saw that against the Green Bay Packers on Sunday. There's no question about that. I'm going to bring all three of you back in the fold once again for to grade your takes, but it's. The thing that I struggle with is more than anything is the schedule. So Paris sort of alluded to it, is the fact that down the stretch of the season, okay, they go to Buffalo. If I can pull up the 49ers schedule up right now. The 49ers go to Buffalo on Sunday Night Football. Then they are, if their schedule will pull up here. Then they go host the Chicago Bears. Okay, you can win that game. You host the LA Rams, who, by the way, beat you without Puka and Kupp all the way back in week 3. Go to Miami, go either way. You host Detroit, which is a team that is on a roll right now more than any team in football. Then you go to Arizona, which is a team obviously you lost to at home. Again, not to say those division games can't flip the other way, but at the same time, it's not looking terribly promising. I will say this, something that we have not seen, I don't think, in the history of the 8 o'clock spot. We're 48 episodes in. This is season 2 of the show. Okay, Paris, I'm giving the best take, followed by Tyler, followed by Arthur. That math adds up to, and again, the numbers are quite troubling, but we got a 3-way tie, ladies and gentlemen. We got a 3-way tie. Again, I'm not loving the point total associated with the 3-way tie. If those that are listening to the show can maybe guess that, but at the same time, that sets up a fantastic final round. The tiebreaker's pretty much out. There's going to be no trivia question. We're going to get in our final segment a debate, or at least a take-off, if you will, between seeing who the guys think about this. So, Jayden Daniels, of his last 3 games, 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, with the Commanders losing 3 games in a row after their 7-2 start. If I dare say so myself, the curse of the terrible towel, I would say, plays just a little bit factor in the fact that they just cannot generate anything since they disrespected that thing. Meanwhile, Bo Nix, in his last 8 games, has been nothing short of fantastic. Bo Nix in his last 8 games has 16 touchdowns and 2 interceptions with a passer rating over 100. I'll ask Tyler to start the segment. This Rookie of the Year race has tightened, okay? Are we in a conversation I didn't think we'd have a few weeks ago on the show, but are we in a world where the Rookie of the Year race has kind of tightened a little bit? Has Bo Nix, dare I say, maybe even taken the lead from Jayden Daniels in this race?
He's not taking the lead. Now he has definitely narrowed the margin. Earlier in the season, Daniels was odds. I mean, DraftKings, any big betting site, was a huge favorite. Now it's only plus 110. Bo Nix have the odds to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now that is very short odds, and he's had 20 touchdowns in his last 10 games. This guy is playing really good football. However, in his first game, though, he had one of the worst games ever. He had -7 yards at a half, and then had another awful game. I just think those 2 big duds are not going to be enough to say what Daniels has done. It's just been such an electric season. And I know he's had a mishap or 2, but in the overall scheme of thing, watching him and watching, I'm sorry, forgot his name, but Bo Nix, and he's incredible. I shouldn't forget his name. So sorry, but to take away from Daniels, no, watching them head to head, I got Daniels all the way.
Daniels has played well, and by the way, he almost had another Play of the Year candidate, given the fact we obviously know the Hail Mary against the Chicago Bears, but the play against Dallas, if Austin Seibert could go up there, step up to the plate, and make it extra points, Commanders maybe win that game in overtime. We're like, okay, he's got 2 like signature moments. Bo Nix, as well as he played, doesn't have any. That could have potentially sealed the deal. By the way, didn't even play well in that game. Did Jayden Daniels? But again, that last play to McLaurin was incredible. But again, it's the kicker kind of messed up there at the end. So a solid take there by Tyler. Go to you now, Paris. I'll ask you this question: Rookie of the Year race, has it tightened a little bit, or has Bo Nix maybe even taken the lead over Jayden Daniels, or does Jayden have still a nice, comfortable margin there?
It has definitely tightened, and this is coming from, I really like Jayden Daniels. I was not a fan of Bo Nix. Coming out of college, I was not big of a fan. So I'm not gonna see him be like, oh, I love Bo Nix. But what Bo Nix has done the past 10 games, very impressive. I am very impressed by what he's done. Definitely with the Broncos team. This is a team nobody gave a shot. The Broncos always have a good defense. But the past 2 years, the offense has been atrocious, and they've gotten rid of pieces. So it's not like they've added to their offense. They've gotten rid of offensive pieces. They got rid of Jerry Jeudy. They had Philip Lindsay some years ago. So nobody's going to give this team a chance. Definitely not on the offensive side. If Russell Wilson looked bad, what was a rookie quarterback going to come in and do? And that's what it looked like at first. But now Bo Nix is playing very impressive. And when you come to awards, there's a lot of things people look at. You look at winning. Well, now Bo Nix is tied. The Broncos are 7-5. The Commanders are 7-5. The Broncos have the momentum. They're winning the games. The Commanders don't have the momentum. They're losing their games now. Losing their games in crazy ways now. That Cowboys game, probably the most Cowboy game I've watched. It's just very entertaining. I couldn't understand what was happening. And then you look at the stats. I mean, Jayden Daniels only has 100 more passing yards than him. Bo Nix has more passing touchdowns. Bo Nix has 1 more interception. Bo Nix has almost the same amount as rushing touchdowns. Jayden Daniels has a little bit more rushing yards. So it's become really close. The big thing Jayden Daniels had at the beginning of the season was that completion percentage. He was breaking records for how high of a completion percentage he had. But now Bo Nix, in the past 10 games, he has 20 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Only 4 other quarterbacks have done that in the past 10 years. That's Tom Brady, that's Aaron Rodgers, that's Patrick Mahomes. And that's Drew Brees. Those are all Hall of Famers, and Patrick Mahomes put himself in the Hall of Fame conversation. And now Bo Nix is doing that. So Jayden Daniels had the record. Now Bo Nix is breaking stuff. So there's no way you can sit here and say Bo Nix doesn't have it. I honestly think at this point, Bo Nix has the race in his hands.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you think he's just taking the lead and has like a pretty comfortable margin here?
I wouldn't say comfortable, but it comes down to winning, and the Commanders aren't winning, and the Broncos are winning now. And nobody expected the Broncos to be winning.
No, I don't think anybody's expecting Washington to necessarily be 7-5 at this point in the season. But again, like you said, it's the Russell Wilson situation and all the dead cap they're going to take on. Like, I don't think anybody. I did think Denver would be a playoff adjacent team. I had them winning 8 games, but I don't think anybody saw a situation where, hey, they're potentially the 6th seed or the 7th seed. They're right in the thick of things. Dare I say, if they go on a little bit of a run, maybe the 5 seed. They do have a little bit of a difficult schedule down the stretch, but you do make some good points. Like you said, Knicks has certainly been better than Daniels as of late. So solid that take there. By Paris. To you now, finally, Arthur, we kind of thought that Jayden Daniels had this thing in the bag to a certain degree. I remember us talking about the discussion between him and Caleb Williams, and Caleb has been pretty good the last 2 games. But has Bo Nix closed the gap, or dare I say, maybe even taken the lead, or is Jayden Daniels still in front in the Rookie of the Year race?
Look, man, I get it. We living in the moment. I understand it. Jayden Daniels, if we're taking this entire season into account, is still the front runner for the offensive Rookie of the Year. Now, Bo Nix has played very well. Over the last 2 weeks, 580 passing yards and 6 touchdowns, completing nearly 71% of his passes. He's thrown just 1 interception in the last 6 weeks. Right now, Denver is 7-5. They're playing very, very well. I get that. So, yes, he has tightened the race. Right. And, Paris brought up the stats about what Daniels is doing right now better than Nix and what Nix is doing better than Daniels right now. But the reason why, and Paris said this also, and I'm going to drive this point home, the Commanders aren't winning. That's the only reason why this is tight right now. And it's not like Jayden Daniels has been wetting the bed the last 3 weeks. 202 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions against the Steelers, 50% completion percentage. 191 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 70 completion percentage against the Eagles. 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 65 completion percentage against the Cowboys. Like, he's still putting up numbers. It's just that they're on a 3-game losing streak. And Paris is talking about the Broncos are winning. I'm sorry. You beat the Falcons and the Raiders the last 2 games. Now, you made it a good game between the Chiefs. You lost by 2, but you got blown out 3 weeks ago by 31 to the Ravens. Look, bro, again, I get it. Bo Nix is playing well. And the last 2 games, you beat, the Falcons and Panthers. Cool. Jayden Daniels has gone up against 2 legit teams in the Steelers and the Eagles, right? Still played well, but didn't win. And then you go up against the Cowboys, who it looks like you've got them on the ropes, right, on the road, and you didn't get the job done. I get it. It happens. This 3-game skid is going to be a learning experience. I don't expect him to keep going through this. I still expect him to put up numbers and then get back in the win column. So, yes, Bo Nix has tightened it, but Daniels is still winning this thing.
That's fair. And like you said, you consider the schedule. You consider, again, I didn't think he was bad against the Philadelphia Eagles. Against Pittsburgh, didn't. It was kind of sorry to use a Gen Z term, but a mid performance to a certain degree. Now, again, Mike Tomlin tends to do that to rookie quarterbacks. For the record, Bo Nix was even worse against Pittsburgh all the way back in week 2. Now, again, it was week 2. These guys have developed and coordinators have gotten film on them. But again, you do make some fair points as it relates to that. There's no question about it. Go ahead and bring both guys back in the mix, Tyler and Paris, so we can go over the grades. Yeah, I think it's a matter of, like you said, recency bias, Arthur, is you'll see guys getting these hot streaks. I mean, there was a point in time where I thought Caleb Williams, honest to God, had taken the lead from Jayden Daniels because he went through a stretch there against, again, Carolina and Jacksonville, 2 bad teams. But at the same time, he's playing good football, so we'll see if this is able to be sustainable for Knicks and if Jayden is able to get back to something similar to what he was around early to midseason. No question about that. Paris, my friend, you are advancing to the final round. I'm going to give you the best take, get you to 11 points going to our final battle, and joining you will be Arthur Hurst at 9 points. Arthur will be advancing to take on Paris. Tyler, stick around, my man. I'd love to get your take, even if it won't be in the score, but I'd love to get your take on what the final segment is going to be. Because, again, it is Thanksgiving, where we're obviously very thankful for all the things that we have in each and every one of our lives. So I'll tell you what, good job, Alfred, on the graphic. That food looks absolutely fantastic, and it's already making me hungry. I must not lie. But the question is, and it's very layered. I actually had a discussion with some of my radio co-hosts about this. Okay, what is the perfect Thanksgiving dinner? So the criteria that we laid out ahead of time. Okay, a main course, 2 sides, a beverage, and a dessert. Arthur Hurst, I will start with you. What's the best Thanksgiving dinner under those circumstances?
Dude, so look, right? I just know how I get down. I know how I love to get down. Turkey. I don't care if it's white or dark. Turkey. Gotta have the gravy. Yams, gotta have it. Mac and cheese. Listen, not everybody can make mac and cheese, Bryson. My people, though, we get down. We can make some great mac and cheese. All right. For my drink, look, I love me some sweet tea, but I'm also 23 years old. So why would I just have a sweet tea? I'm gonna make that a Long Island sweet tea, actually. And then for dessert, man, give me some sweet potato pie with some vanilla ice cream any day. And then I'm gonna go enjoy some football. And after that football's over, I'm gonna take my behind to bed. So yeah, that's my perfect Thanksgiving meal.
Okay, so I wrote that down as you were saying. So we got turkey. We got, I must have missed it, mac and cheese. What was the other side again?
You got to have turkey with the gravy. Don't matter which one. Mac and cheese and yams.
Mac and cheese and yams. Sweet tea is your drink, and sweet potato pie.
Long Island sweet tea. Not just a sweet tea, buddy.
Long Island sweet tea. Okay, I'm not even a tea guy like that, but you know what? The way you advertise it, you at least told me to give it a try. I'll say that. So good, solid to take there for Arthur. Let's see what Paris's response is. Paris, the ideal Thanksgiving dinner. Again, let's repeat it for those that maybe are just now tuning in. The best Thanksgiving dinner with a main course, 2 sides, a beverage, and a dessert. What is the best Thanksgiving dinner, Paris Brown?
So I'm the opposite. I am not a big turkey guy. I love me some ham. Some brown sugar ham. Oh, that's the best thing from Thanksgiving. So give me some brown sugar ham, put some little pineapples on it to keep the sweetness in it. Some brown sugar ham. I have to go with him. Mac and cheese is probably one of the better sides. My favorite side by far is sweet potatoes. I got to have the mac and cheese and the sweet potatoes. My favorite drink, I love cream soda. That is my favorite drink by far. Give me some cream soda. And then for dessert, I'm a big dessert guy. I might be a small person, but I love me some desserts. But definitely recently, I think my favorite dessert right now would be a strawberry cheesecake. That's going to have to be my dessert. And it's a lot of sweet food, but that's definitely my meal.
Well, whatever works for you, that's okay. So we got brown sugar ham, we got mac and cheese, sweet potatoes, cream soda, and strawberry cheesecake. That's pretty good. But both of those are pretty darn strong. I'll go and get both guys on screen here so we can announce the winner. Both are strong. I will say this, and then we'll get. Matter of fact, let me take y'all both off the screen. We'll delay the winner for just a few minutes. I want to know what Tyler thinks. So again, this take isn't necessarily going to count, but I do want to know what Tyler thinks. Tyler, what is the best Thanksgiving dinner? We got a main course, we got 2 sides, we got a beverage, and we got a dessert. What is the best Thanksgiving dinner for Tyler?
You got to have the moist turkey. That is always good. It's Thanksgiving staple. As the sides, I like sweet potatoes. Love the sweet potatoes with the marshmallows. And then I like deviled eggs on the dressing. So some good solid dressing with deviled eggs on it. You cannot go wrong there. In fact, got to make sure my mom is making that because that sounds good. And then also, I like the cherry rhubarb pie. Ooh, that's a great pie. Got to have that with my Thanksgiving meal with an Arnold Palmer to drink. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Absolutely. No, appreciate you coming on, Tyler. Real quick, so just to wrap that up, so we got turkey, we got sweet potatoes with marshmallows, we got dressing with deviled eggs, chili rhubarb pie, and an Arnold Palmer to drink. That's pretty strong.
Hey, that's good, man. That sounds good.
That does sound good. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay, so take Tyler, and I appreciate you, Tyler, for coming on the show. Shout out to you, my man. Great night from you once again. I'll ask, or I shouldn't say ask. I will. I'll say my Thanksgiving dinner. Okay, I'm kind of with Paris. Now I'm not crazy about turkey. I must confess that. I mean, if it's the only thing there, I'm gonna eat turkey. Ham is better. Okay, I'm gonna take some ham. The sides is gonna be. You can never, ever, ever go wrong with mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes, when done right, like that's a good friend of mine call it the offensive line of a Thanksgiving dinner. Like you need that to be successful. You can mix it with stuff. It's great. Okay. And then this is personal to me. I'm not even a casserole guy like that, but my mother makes some fantastic corn casserole. Again, it kind of goes with the mashed potatoes. So corn casserole, I'm going to have an apple cider to drink. I love apple cider. And then the greatest Thanksgiving food of all time. And frankly, folks, it's not even close. Pumpkin freaking pie is my dessert. Paris, you disagree. Arthur, you'll seem to be crazy about either. What do y'all think? What do y'all think?
I'm just not a fan of pumpkin flavors. I mean, pumpkin pies, they got pumpkin drink. You get to this time, all Starbucks want to do all the pumpkin drinks. It's just, It's just not it. It's not it. I'm tired of it. Every time, this time of year, it's pumpkin everything.
That's fair. Arthur, you have a rebuttal. You're dying right now.
Nah, man, hey, bro, sweet potato pie, dog. Sweet potato pie, I love that,
Sweet potato
dog.
pie is
Never
good.
go wrong with it.
Sweet potato pie is good. By the way, Barry says, Paris, no turkey? What? He says, Bryson and Paris are serial killers. Listen, it's not that I don't eat turkey. It just wouldn't be my preferred choice. It wouldn't be my first pick in the Thanksgiving Day draft, okay? Like, I like turkey. I'm just not like, I'm not crazy about it.
I'm just not a big fan. Like he said, like Bryson said, if turkey's the only thing, I'm not going to not eat it. I'm going to eat it. But sure. I would rather have ham.
Listen, both of you guys delivered some fantastic takes, but of course, this is the 8 o'clock spot, especially a Thanksgiving edition. That said, there can be only one winner. And with 10 points, 10 additional points, the winner of this week's edition, episode 48, the 8 o'clock spot is Arthur Hurst. Congratulations you getting one on the board once again. Arthur, your reaction?
Thanksgiving, man. Hey, just give thanks, Paris, hey, look, bro. Love going against Paris. I want to say, yeah. I haven't gone against, I think I've gone against Mike probably 1 or 2 times less than you. But I know that you, me, and Mike are usually sometimes like the same people along. Love going against Paris. He always makes it hard on me. Because, shoot, even with the, whatchamacallit, I literally had that stat, that Bo Nix and Jayden Daniels comparison stat Friday. I was like, oh, yeah, JD got more passing yards, and then he pulls it out his behind. I'm like, dang, okay. Now I just got to use my words to try to get in the final round. But, hey, man, always good going against Paris for sure. Yeah, but we give thanks for the win. You know what I'm saying? It's a great holiday weekend.
Amen about it. Paris, your thoughts, closing thoughts?
Man, when I saw Arthur in it again, I was like, once again, it's like I'm the 90s Buffalo Bills, man. I'm in here, I lose every I get in here, I do my thing, and it's just like I got that one team, that one person I just can't get past. But hey, I mean, if I keep getting second place, I'm going to be top 3, so I'll take it.
I mean, eventually you get a couple breakthroughs in there. Now you're in a different spot on the leaderboard. There's no question about that. To both of you fellas, also Tyler Redington, shout out to Tyler, shout out to Paris, and of course, shout out to Arthur Hurst. Once again, you're a 3-time champion now, right? 3-time champion, the 8 o'clock spot. And by the way, the current points leader, just adding to that lead right now. We'll see if anybody can catch you. Would be at Paris, Mike, anybody else. Alfred got a W. So did my man. Asher come on the show a couple weeks ago. So shout out to all those people. That is it for this week's edition of the 8 o'clock spot. We will be back here next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time, live on the Gryd Network's YouTube channel. We'll see you then, everybody. Stay safe out there. God bless y'all. Peace out.